Hello everyone and welcome to Afraim's Flight Deck. My name is Afraim. Have you ever dreamed before of building your own Airbus A320 flight simulator? If so, you're in the right place, because in this video I'll walk you through the essential steps to get started. Everything from planning to gathering materials, and by the end you will hopefully know and have a good idea on how to get started on this project. Let's get started. First thing, let's talk about the vision of this project. This project is just not about building a flight simulator, but we're trying to build a fully immersive experience. Everything from the throttle to the side stick to the overhead panel, and the goal is we'll try to replicate everything as closely as possible. But don't worry, the good thing, you don't have to be an engineer or a pilot or anything special to build such a thing. All we need is just some research, time, and the right tools, and everything's possible. Let's go ahead to the computer to show you more. Alright everyone, so now that we're on the computer, let's talk about what equipment we're gonna need, flight controls, software, and all of that stuff. First, I would like to talk about the computer itself, because essentially this is what we're gonna run our software, flying software on it, any programs for programming the flight simulator, add-ons, and etc. And I would recommend doing that also first, because dedicating your computer right away to flight simming will make life so much easier down the road, because you're gonna have all your software programs, any testings you do already saved. So by the time you finish your building your flight sim, it's all on that PC. All you have to do is plug all the wires into it and you should be ready to go. So here is a list of my PC components that I used. I will try to leave a link to it down in the description if you want to check out. So yeah, I was flight simming. It's a really hard game or program to run. So I would recommend going with a high-end PC. You're probably going to be spending a minimum between $800 to $1,500 if you're gonna buy all the components brand new. So yeah, like this right here, almost $1,000 if you want to buy the exact same components brand new. I know my components, not all of them are the high end, but I have room for upgrades down the road. One piece specifically I would recommend going big right away is the RAM, because when I started with 16 gigs of RAM, and immediately within like 2 days of playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, every time I run it I have to close almost every other application I had open, because it would consume like almost 95% of the capacity. So yeah, that's the first piece of equipment I would recommend. Also the PC will come in handy for research, any other things. Second thing, let's talk about flight controls, because essentially flight controls are going to be the heart of the simulator. That's how we're going to control the plane and everything. And my recommendation is to start with the TCA Captain Pack for the Airbus, since we're building an Airbus A320 simulator, and a set of rudder pedals. That's really all what we need to get started. And my other recommendation before we build the flight simulator, for anyone that hasn't already been simming for a while, start simming for a bit first, see if you even like it, how many times per week you're gonna fly it or whatsoever. because spending all that money and then building the whole flight sim, and you only end up using it once a month or something like that. Those are really the, I won't say affordable, but they're not too expensive either. So with those two, you're looking around, I don't know, 300, 400 or so, 450, something like that. And the second or third thing is the flight simulator software that you're gonna choose to use. Go do your research, see if you can get a demo of any of them, try them, see which one you like better. For me personally, I went with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm using the 2022 version though. And if you have Game Pass, it's included with it, but if not, it's $70. So right away, you're looking around almost $500 just for your software and your flight controls and your PC. So total so far around almost 15 or 2,000, $1,500 or $2,000. So yeah. And next thing, let's talk about some software add-ons that we're gonna use to make simming more immersive. You have two options, at least that I'm aware of. There's the fly-by-wire. It makes it more interactive in the cockpit. A lot of the buttons are actually functional. They do its purpose. You have a planning iPad. So the fly-by-wire is completely free. And the other option is the Phoenix. In the beginning, I used to have the fly-by-wire, but after I got into it a bit more and they wanted to take it to the next level, I did go ahead and buy the Phoenix. It's more immersive. I think you get almost, not all of it, but almost all the buttons in the cockpit are functional. You have like a lot of emergency scenarios that you can activate and use. So yeah. Alright, and another program that we're gonna need to download is MobiFly, because essentially MobiFly is gonna be somewhat the heart of the simulator, because that's how we're gonna program all the buttons, indicators, screens, displays to the flight simulator. So when actually press a button in real life, and the simulator that will activate it as well. And we use something called Arduino. It looks something like that. We basically, each button we build, it depends on how many pins that button will have. We plugged a certain amount of pins, then we go into MobiFly and we assign each pin. One of them is going to be like the button itself, then upper and lower indicator, and etc. So MobiFly is completely free as well. Alright, next I want to talk about space. This is something you really need to plan ahead of time, because building a full-size cockpit of the Airbus A320 will take quite the space. So here I want to show you a diagram or a 3D model. It was created by Okan, and I will leave link down to his website below. He's an engineer, and he also built a flight simulator and really took the time to document as much as he could by including photos and some measurements and a 3D model, which really comes in handy. So it's right down there, you can download it. I already did, so let's go into it, and it's right here. So this is basically a full size cockpit, and he really did really good job on 3D modeling it. But yeah, let's get some measurements. So if you come here, so width wise we're looking at what, almost 8 feet, and height almost 7 feet, and how long is it? And about what, 6 feet or so. So yeah, plan ahead for that. Alright, next, the biggest part of building this project is gonna be research, because there is no really one place where you can go get all the information from. So we're gonna have to do a lot of research, and I'm trying to figure out this as I go. So a really good place that I have been to get a lot of answers and help from is the Airbus A320 Home Cockpit Builders on Facebook. It's a group. It's really, you just scroll through it and read people comments or posts and what problems they have or what ideas they have, and look at their builds. They also have under files right here, you'll find a lot of resources, a lot of 3D models of stuff that people already made, and they're just sharing it with everyone else. Another group is DIY Cockpit Sim Builders. Same thing. And we have another 3D model. It's by Sim Guys of the MIB. I will leave it down, a link down in the description. Check that out as well. Finally, I want to talk about some tools that you would need in this project. And probably the most important tool is going to be a 3D printer, because with 3D printer basically will enable you to print 80% of the project yourself, like all the buttons, a decent amount of the panels, maybe even the throttle quadrant if you want to build that yourself. It's gonna be a really great, useful tool. Me personally, I have the Industry V2. It's a really decent printer to get started with. With some right mods and upgrades, you can fine tune it and it will give you good quality. Yeah, and other some tools, you have your basic tools like drills, saws, screwdriver, and that kind of stuff. And the biggest material you'll probably need is a lot of wood. So yeah, this is really it for all the material components, software, and spacing and planning ahead. I know I probably skipped out on a lot of information, but it's just hard to cover all the exact materials and details, and I will try to document as much as I can in this project going forward, and hopefully I'll be able to cover exactly all the materials and tools, programs, software that you will need as we go. And hopefully for the next video, I'm planning on showing you how to build a Cori switch for the overhead panel, or not necessarily the overhead panel, for everything else, because a decent amount of the buttons inside the Airbus A320 is a Cori. And finally, I want to say thank you for joining me today. If you're excited and following this journey and project on how to build an Airbus A320 flight simulator, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and drop a comment below with any comments or questions you have. And appreciate following me through this journey, and let's build that flight simulator together. See you in the next one.